Hey, Fact Factory fans, imagine this. You're an architect in the Middle Ages designing a tower that will be remembered for centuries, but not because it's the tallest or the strongest, but because it leans. That's exactly what happened with the Leaning Tower of Pisa, one of the world's most famous architectural mistakes. But why does it lean? Was it a construction error, a clever trick, or a total disaster that somehow worked out? Today, we're uncovering the fascinating truth behind the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and why, even after centuries, it still hasn't fallen. To understand the story, we have to go back to the 12th century, to the city of Pisa, in Italy. At the time, Pisa was a powerful maritime city, and they wanted to build an incredible bell tower as part of their cathedral complex. Construction began in 1173, and everything seemed fine until they reached the third floor. Suddenly, the tower began to tilt to one side. But why? The main problem was something the builders didn't realize at first. The ground beneath Pisa is too soft. It's made up of a mix of clay, sand, and silt, which can't properly support a heavy stone structure. The foundation of the tower was only 3 meters, 10 feet, deep, which was far too shallow for a massive 8,500-ton tower. So when the third floor was added, the heavy weight began pressing down unevenly, causing one side to sink. The builders noticed the tilt, but instead of stopping, they had an interesting idea. What if we just build the next floors slightly slanted to correct the lean? Yes, they tried to fix the problem by building the rest of the tower at an angle. But instead of solving it, the extra weight just made the tilt even worse. At this point, construction stopped for nearly 100 years because Pisa was at war. But believe it or not, this actually saved the tower. Because the construction was delayed, the ground had time to settle, which slowed down the sinking process. If they had continued building right away, the tower probably would have collapsed completely. When work resumed in 1272, new architects added more floors, but tried to balance the structure by building them at a slight curve. This is why the tower doesn't just lean, it actually has a slight banana shape. Finally, in 1372, after almost 200 years, the Leaning Tower of Pisa was finished. But by then, it was already leaning at a dramatic angle of nearly 4.5 degrees. You might be wondering, how is it possible that this massive, unstable tower hasn't collapsed after all these centuries? The answer comes down to physics. The center of gravity of the tower still falls within its base, meaning the weight is distributed just enough to keep it standing. However, by the 20th century, things got dangerous. By the 1990s, the lean had increased to 5.5 degrees, and engineers realized the tower was on the verge of collapsing. In 1993, the Italian government took action. They used counterweights, underground anchors, and careful soil removal to reduce the tilt. After years of work, they corrected the angle from 5.5 degrees to 3.97 degrees, making it stable again. And here's the best part. The tower is now expected to remain standing for at least another 200 years. Before we wrap up, here are some fun facts about the Leaning Tower of Pisa that you might not know. The tower still moves slightly. It shifts about 1 millimeter per year. The reason Pisa's ground is so weak is that the city was once a lagoon thousands of years ago. The tower isn't just famous for its tilt, it's also famous because Galileo Galilei supposedly dropped 2 cannonballs from the top to prove his theory of gravity. The tower has 7 bells, each playing a different musical note. If the tilt had reached 5.44 degrees, engineers say the tower would have completely collapsed. So the next time you see a picture of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, remember, it wasn't designed to lean, but a huge mistake made it world famous. What do you think? Should they have corrected it completely or left it leaning? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more amazing facts from the Fact Factory. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.